Every so often, we see a prospect with glaring similarities to a veteran player already in the league. When Trae Young came into the league, it was easy to say he was Steph Curry's protege, and when a guy like Zion Williamson were climbing the ranks back in 2018, people, and myself, didn't see a reason not to give him the LeBron comp. This format of comparing top-rated players that show some flashes of NBA superstars has always been a thing to take with a grain of salt, so you won't get trigger-happy and make the mistake of drafting the wrong guy your team so desperately tanked for. And that's why the most successful teams years down the line follow these three simple team philosophies that I believe in when it comes down to drafting a high-regarded player and how to construct a roster in the NBA becomes the most successful. For starters, your team is only as good as your bench and head coach. For two, whatever your core strengths are, make them stronger, aka go back to the basics. And number three, you'll never in a million years find any success in the draft or in the regular season if you don't have a good GM and an already set foundation you can build upon. For those two last reasons and those last two reasons alone, I think the OKC Thunder have struck gold in drafting 7'1" Chet Holmgren in the draft this past year. Speaking about glaring similarities and sticking to the basics, it doesn't get much similar than KD and Chet. They're like two peas in a pod. They're cut from the same cloth. Just comparing their frame alone, they're the same players. 7 foot, skinny, super lanky, long arms, the list could go on for days. But that's not what this is. I'm not here to describe how I like their bodies look. The most obtrusive similarity is their game on the court. On any given night, you more often than not can see KD backing down a smaller defender and shooting right over him. Not many players can do that because most NBA players don't have a 7'5" wingspan, and most NBA players don't have the innate ability to get the ball and get right to their preferred spot on the court and shoot it how you want, when you want, and to go in. That is, unless your name is Chet Holmgren. Stick with me here. You can see how effortless his spin move creates an immense amount of space for him as he takes the 1 pound dribble and pulls up over the smaller defender. KD has made a living off that move, and I think now so will Chet. The same way we saw Kobe model his game after MJ could quite literally be the same thing going on here. You can see him using his core strength and flexibility to absorb contact over and over again against much bigger players, even if he lost leverage and has physics working against him all at the same time. But this is the NBA in 2022, so no one blinks an eye when a big man do things as such. But for Chet, that's just the surface level stuff. That's not all he can do. No 7-footer in their right mind should be able to dribble the ball up the court so casually, but you see, Chet isn't your run-of-the-mill center. Before he even crosses half court, you can tell he already decided what he's going to do. Sound familiar? After crossing that half court line, Chet takes 1 pound dribble and picks up his speed to take Taco Fall off his primary spot. It of course works, and Chet Holmgren immediately brings the ball behind his back and raises up for a 3. Insane. Now, where KD and Chet slightly differ is on the defensive side of the ball. Half the reason Chet is so highly regarded is, yes, because his next level offensive upside, but mostly because he's a pest when it's someone else's turn to score on him. It's pretty unfair. Take a look at this. Generational. The job the Thunder have done in just simply drafting Chet should be questioned by Adam Silver and some other league execs. They quite literally drafted Kevin Durant all over again. They now have a second chance at making those young star-studded OKC teams mean something. And if you take a look at the roster Sam Presti is building, it's scarily similar to the 2010s unexperienced Thunder teams. But if Chet can stay healthy and develop like I know he will, the Thunder and Chet might be the next best in class.
With the second pick in the 2022 NBA Draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga.